Ekosiisen so your official government spokesperson. Wabe cancer ewaha. And then some bebre na why ye beka ho asem COVID matters arising. And I know sir or political actor he would love to take a bite of the cherry as far as the Supreme Court case is concerned. More messages abano I have seen all of them. We'll be reading them for you in due course. Where it said public officers are held to account for the official duty under Article 23 at the High Court, where administrative remedies are pleaded. Certainly not at the Supreme Court with an election petition under Article 64(1). The NDC has scored an own goal. Finito, Idi, Muhayudin, and on the way are praying. Dr. Bernard Okoe Boye, akwaba na pom te saying.
Omi.
Bibi aboko.
Nyaku pardon. Mama nchia oti fo nyina na me mama yiko mabojuma.
Yeah, that's it.
Mabojuma. In fact, osha e was say time we petition e was say school no kra no mama on crossing about jumping some 2 semesters. Na said the only reason why me draw recommendation when he say go be case of when ma judgment.
That is a minister power.
Enti ama chese obitimi kasasa no sana
wako every side. Yeah, me side yeah.
Because sami wo sena sami kasai me tena odi na msi na chachu kra kasa 1 hour ni nya 70. Chachu kasa 2 hours nya 90. Na sami jemfia kasa 1 hour asempa no judgment. Maybe say Dominic say just the rules ben awori ejuma on studio. Na obi nyankopon na head na ase.
Yeah.
I always start by and then my chairman brother Edwin Provençal, the boss CEO. Young guys no more system no more kita a lot of fire. O more my results no say o manaya abom abaso. And my brother lawyer Jerry Ahmed co-star. Omo bom mo modin. Obi, the NDC went to court. In fact, the petitioner went to court seeking some relief and pleadings. Yes, sir.
Yes.
That is the letter of their petition. There is a spirit. Do you know the spirit? Obi. The NDC went to court for 2 things. I know the spirit. I know they can't write it in the petition. First of all, it was to compromise the validity of President Akufo-Addo as sitting president of the Republic. Because to them, until the Supreme Court rules, they don't recognize President Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
And that is why when they were reminded, they say this case must travel for 40 what? How many
42
days? 42 days. They took issue to that. Now, Obi, if Owakuma Mupa Una was on Jubilee House, now there are some Akoma judges. My judges catch us the same out there by now no Obi the do 8 months. Who the end do 2 months. Obi and come if you are not share white in powder. But what I say? Obi where everyone say Messia Ozi orbiter na den ratio descender. We show sana me say yeah anamika to law forms. Miss Menya Boten. Na Dominic into forms me di na chi me zoom into. Obi enti the spirit of the petition of the NDC is to try and drag this matter such that it will take a long time before they grudgingly recognize the Akufo-Addo as the president of this country. And here you are, Judge Akachomo say, what say me, enquire to be the 8 months. Who the man is shishi? No, say I didn't mean weather. Hey, no be odi asema base what the president. Rules, new policies, new programs, I was rolling out immediately. Now you see the case amount in less than 2 months. What's on here? Obi. We Bajumba, KNUSC. Unse me a technocrat. You see Nyansapo, your son is Bajumba. That alone should tell you that something is amiss. It tells you of the first spirit of the NDC petition. Now let me give you the second one. It is sad, but we sometimes some people refer to Jim Mensa. Mia, my sister. Oba no ye fe. Oba wonim de. Oba wabo adwuma o my we mu. Some of the positions she's held. Sebi yemfa ma kwahwe muka ne ten.
Kwahwe ababia.
Enye kwahwe. Look, read please before we finish the program. Print out a profile former citizens. No munti. And yeah, one share uncle tie NDC utie Sami Jefinimi, some of my brothers. You might think, say, this woman here sebio some no entity. No sebio no efe inti. Ya man who say konakodi isipeni. This is someone who has worked in sebi wa carving her own niche for herself. Now, Obi, the second spirit of the NDC petition is to James petition, let me put it, is to have an opportunity to drag her into an arena where sebi you may use allowable court processes. I'm a sebi why it is say unyo bia sebi wagu odimasi. Obi, these two things constitute the spirit of the petition of the NDC. Otherwise, how can you come and say my winning election? You see, you didn't find this winning for Africa, mommy. You see, my jail fee. Obi. So the pleadings they made in court is only the letter of the petition. But Nyankupo Mau discernment now transia. Ultimate say, and like I said, we get here intimated one time. I said, my lord, who told you that we came here necessary to say that? You see, based on our figures we've won. You see your issue with declaration and declaration Ekosiisen. Nijina Ekosi Jean Adukoye Mensa. And you see, God has a way of revealing hidden secrets. From day one, they say, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth what?
The mouth speaketh.
It was very difficult for Chachu to, counsel, senior counsel Chachu, to avoid mentioning, even her two names is not enough. She mentions the name, Yeshua's name, Niatrafia reciting for 24 hours. He had some obsession for mentioning the name, for revealing the name when mentioned, and maybe swallowing it if after mentioning. To the extent, say, one of the justices, and Wanyanukau, judges from Obi, they use their 5 senses. When they say a judge uses the 5 senses, Obi, and last year, no matter. Obi, when they tell you that a judge is using the 5 senses, remember example, say Dominic Ayini, frowning or frowning or court. No, the point I'm making is, they are not a kind of judge, on your magistrate, sebi court judge. Oh, but Nasia, apart from the old canon, ni e pen or the follow case, they follow the case using all their senses. That is why the woman could see, one of the judges could see, say, there was a special attachment to the name and the person. And so eventually, on Chachu hint, say, it's an institution. The first responded. Is it not possible to refer to them as an institution, but to go for this individual? But a president can say, oh, yeah, the only returning officer for the whole country. The woman didn't push it far. Because Sebi, you see, Ukita Tumia, and yet there be no more, or Mube Bisa, Mbo or Hono, Obi. When you see a father who argues with the son, either the son is the one taking care of the father, or the father has lost his fatherhood. Oh, they may catch on. Oshia eja, not in the bar, argumenta. Heated argument, and even you know. Either say, what do threshold on me fatherhood authority on me to me or the advice I know better say me as a father me see this is recommended and now the burden sebi esheno there are some birthrights anyamidi mao nima bit me sina dani but what I say the woman didn't push that far the judge because who has the judgment in his or her bosom is the Lord's.
The Lord's.
And anka ordinary sa koyanka maybe say na mama no refie bia like ebi or not exactly. But you know what? Aye chachunti. That's my opinion. Ebi aye judge bi lawyer bia sebi onye senior sa nema menu na woman no betima aye. Opa on ma clue no kra. Obi they give clues in court.
That's true.
Obi me unse say yeah trail out be tro and na me got na class but me use me senses around the court this complex. Obi sometimes the judges ask a question so that maybe line na was no ebe bo ma offer so maybe you go on another part and you might convince them but on person make say ebi a onam there and bonama. So I mean basically I am excited. I'm excited say look who says that Okoe Boye wouldn't like a public officer to be answerable to their actions. I am for it 100%. But when I sense and observe a prejudice, Professor prejudice say me who say okita dwembi na enye se bi no kwan na ebia ohwehwe Now so odi nipa no wasema myself no ebi I mean granted the opportunity say odi nipa no be gidigidi obi mpacho what I say say be say 2 boxes cry before match you were pre fight way you in prison meku but at the end of the day they are fighters anka ebi na was say job no munku. But the point I'm making is that the fact that you can interrogate an officer doesn't mean you are allowed. Especially when there are circumstances say what you are looking for might not be what will inure to everybody's benefits. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Now, Sebi, Obi, in Bawesu, here you are. You say you want Jim Mensah to be in the box. And is it
in the witness box?
The witness box. Orally. Obi kasa orally. Obetimia can be because or kasa from Sebi, not already documented. Obetimia can be in 5 minutes. Obeka just said, it's not what I wanted to say. But say Ochodia and no one had the benefit of going through over the script. Obi what I say. The point I want to make is that in answering to the kind of work she did, Obi, on a normal day, you should be more confident on what has been put on paper than what she would orally tell you. Now, what is the genesis of this petition? Also, orally, no, in communicating what is in the document, she heard, Obi, and here you are saying that the same person, no, what show the response to your pleadings, no, what show the response on paper, it has been filed in the court. Also, all the manhood documentation, no, me person maintain na me be standing same. Obi, what I say. So, when all is said and done, at least, look, I also watch me on WhatsApp, any emails in the say, Obi, you are supposed to be comfortable with the strength of your case in our building. Is that not so? Nah, I did I could be one microphone. If Chachu and Sami Jemfi and the petitioners are so bent on using all other means to get Jim Mensah to get into the box, what does he also tell you? It is an indirect admission, say. So far, case no more building, no. It is not that cooked to give them the results they expect. Obi, I know, yes, sir. Or, and this is very interesting, even if it is well cooked and might get them the results, it is to serve the 2 spirits I mentioned. But so what's the analysis now? It is to serve the 2 spirits, which it's to tell you, say, maybe even if the outcome is that John Mama is president, they would savour, they would relish an encounter with Jim Mensah in the box than a JM going to Jubilee House. And that is why when we tell the petitioners that I'll do it for you in 42 days, they say it's too fast. Maybe let's go 1 year. So Obi, look, as a country, you know, there is a third one in terms of the spirit, which has just come to mind. Share the echoes of my women say, Obi, as we speak, we have designate ministers who are being interviewed. Obi, they are being asked critical questions that can either serve as a foundation for them to build policy and make positive impact on the lives of citizens, or critical questions that will let them reflect on the things that they didn't do that well. Obitio, and this is at the heart of governance. Say the most senior public officer in a particular field, our president, our appointed, or no near our source of engagement as we speak now. President, Obeko Jubilee House, Anopa, Washe Gubi, Waye Juma, Ewia, Waye Juma, Obi, Enure Waye Juma, say, they breaking, now start here. It is the Supreme Court. In fact, even on days when the Supreme Court is not sitting, Obi, people get into anticipatory events. What will happen tomorrow? From print media, tomorrow, the court will rule whether Jim Mensah is mounted the box. Even on the day NCA, the point I'm making is say, Ama or Mino, Nyama air Kosu Anke was say, I do Kosu ye about. Now, the third spirit was to achieve such a purpose. Now, look at the excitement and the joy with which Omomuko court as speakers, you know, Yapon case now, on my microphone. Hey, I would share Obi. Obi, I was here some, I'm a Capricorn. Everybody comes in his, and I'm not, that's not to say here, but just to make a point, say, Obia comes in their best form, outfit, wanting to make sure say in the cameras. Now or say media may ask me question. Obi, just say I didn't have and you can imagine this was what was anticipated or they wished for the next 2 or 3 years. The piano or maybe general catcher will say in a court case now. One of the judges even had a cause to complain. Judges, you know, me some 5 cents. They don't go to sleep after the case. They also monitor the interviews. They had a case to say that they even mentioned some of the lawyers. Say some of the things they say is totally off what happened in court. So it tells you, say, that spirit in America today, I'm catch a judge and say, and your proceedings where any the law painting any petition by you. Yeah, what TV interviews are here for 2 years if our plan goes well. Now, that 2 years interview, you know, and maybe attention of Jubilee House, attention of vetting committee, attention of everything. Obi. Now, Midanyanku Ponasi say, Obi, judges never want to inquire. Obi. In fact, meeting one shot, I can be the first born or last born or some of the judges. Obi, Penny, you see, dear, just a ufru a diancer of the this look, I can't make say youthful language say these guys are wild. Obi, just a spiritual spirit no in their petition now they were seeking. I am sure they've seen all that too. Obi, say me the Obi my official government spokesperson. Me analysis any me fasting na me me. But if you are not conscious, that's one of my favorite words. Oh, yes, sensitive, any discerner. When you now will not come to you. And you will say, hey, court case when they're causing, but be hidden behind what you see on document are some special requester and we enjoy. Now, the Daniel say, if you fall or more dream door and a walk court. Into Behuno, Sabi, yeah, I dear who almost because away by China for document in Ubra. Say, I can say by 17th. And I guess,
yeah, by 17th, I'm file written submissions. Yeah.
Obi, yeah, we are on Obi. I say, teacher, lecture, lecture. Our catcher will say, yeah, I Obi, yeah, interim assessment. Just saying, come main game, no, Obi. So, and you see, if you look at the orientation of the petitioner and in the counselor, say, yes, the judge is now a firm. Say, we are going this way. And can you find another route? This route of I'm bringing a subpoena for you to bring a Nukrano to is a new chapter all over because also by grantia arguments must be made,
of course,
whether it should be sustained or not. Obi, now looking at the way Chachu goes, you know, at least when he said 2 days to argue on this. Now, your friend is saying, Amenuvo. So what is the definition?
Amenuvo.
But Obi, and then one of the most English dictionary no be jatumudia. The Mikayano, very very powerful. The new definition for amenuvo as a verb. Obi, a verb is an action word. It's a doing word. Obi, amenuvo, an abrupt swerving or change of tactics that leaves an opponent confused, dazed, mesmerized, bewildered, befuddled, disoriented, disorganized, upset, stunned, or stupefied. The key word is abrupt. Obi, just say
amenuvo new meaning.
Yes, as a verb. So if Mikael say, oh, amenuvo Dominic, just say what manati say, munina mu call friend is jokers. Now, time on Medru Junction now branching straight to the Accra Sports Stadium. And just say you've succeeded in maneuvering a grand strategy. Obi, so I always end my presentation of the court case with congratulations and a commendation for the petitioner. You know why? Obi, we take some things for granted. I was at Sierra Leone some few months ago. Now, Obi, some landmarks. I shall say it's one of the first countries that got university. One of the first countries that the colonialists came from. One of the first countries that saw civilization. Ekosiisen on the city, Freetown, looks old. Obi, when they say a city looks old, you know how you tell it. And it's a Ghana, for airport city. What means the structure we seen last year? Buildings, the structures you see sometimes dates 1802. Even the 5-star hotel I say down, It was a hotel built in pre-colonial times. I innovate here, engine all year. I am a Chinese company.
Wow.
But the question is that what led to all this? Freetown, Obi, a civil war. So, no matter our differences, when I see that a political party conforms to what our forefathers put down, that in all my disagreements, even if my case is shallow, even my case is hollow, I will not continuously let my people be on the streets, but I'll conform and go to court. I always end by commending them. Say it is better to have a funny case in court, in my opinion, than to have a genuine case you are fighting on the streets. So me don't want to see.
Dr. Bernard Okoe Boye and Moten and Ekosiisen Suni. And that's the introductory comment. The Abene said we'll come back and talk COVID-19 matters arising. And so the former boss was before the parliamentary appointment committee. Making a thought on what happened there. We said okay. Inti Kwekuje see the 3 questions be on COVID-19 Abba, and I'll get Doc to answer all those questions. Means I'll say, why should our health systems and workers be in total fear at the battlefront if they so claim they are indeed our soldiers on the ground during the crying moment? And why should every ailment, including traditional ones, be deemed related to COVID-19, from which a patient will be denied admission into a health facility, even if the condition is critical until the status is known? And what are the measures put in place by the Ghana Health Service to make sure that sample tests picked at any other place, apart from Accra and Kumasi, get their test result out in time for appropriate and further medical directives, since it has now become basic requirement for admission of patients into major facilities? These are 3 questions based on an article being a Kwekuje Koilea or de Abre. Inti Doc will be responding to all of those, but that will be after this short break. Here, Basisi Amunchanye.
Oh, 2 weeks ago. Ekosiisen on Asempa FM. Agbebe fever, me below be crack and one. Hey, me do horn more. Many malaria, any tracker bia. My society walk on. But from Akodia Preco. Agbebe fever, so dear, any Akodia Cassiapa. Malaria beer unity, pet, and Dinisungu. Hey, Madame Remember and was WW, and one year. Hey, Agbebe fever in the Timmy. Nagana house dear, could be malaria free. And it's a bit too quiet. No, my one more preco. Before Agbebe fever, I shall bag my sacred Mafatadia. Na sese wodi ni nyina ekro no yen ya ka fie nso oh sa had the chrome had head and pharmacy chemical and herbal shops and ebu anu nsu gum kama etitru kra ne Agbebe herbal center oh so utium last stop and after 020-8130-790 and 024-6595-256 Agbebe fever malaria sin ho odina o mefisi apemfo abata wo mo manufo ene nkoda wo nimfiedu mienu epe won ka ho
e wo se wodi etri di mu hihyehu ka ho ansa na wagye ayarehwe senia o man no etri di ayare san hyehyeye tie
FD ahyehyɛ saa ejedi enkrato yi mu agye atomu se eye. Hey!
Sir?
Wow.
Why is everyone speechless? Because DSTV is offering you the same mind-blowing entertainment at a fraction of the price.
Huh?
For a limited time only, get an HD decoder, dish and installation, plus 1 month of DSTV access, cut down from 229 Ghana cedis to just 199 Ghana cedis. That's ridiculous. Before it's too late, get the best for even less with DSTV. SMS 1731. This is your moment.
Heaven, oh heaven, heaven, yeah, bako. Heaven, oh heaven, heaven, yeah, bako. Heaven mosquito quail, repels mosquitoes, less smoke, you know they break. Used to heaven is insecticide spray no na won't malaria so better. It don't let a friend want money. Heaven, oh heaven, heaven, yeah, bako. 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 Heaven, yeah, bako pe. Ne kum tum tip.
Do not sleep in a room with a burning coil. Leave room for 15 minutes after spray and allow for adequate ventilation.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Enapa, 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 enapa. Yeah, enapa sardines, enapa mackerel, enapa soya sauce, yeah, enapa baked beans. For sandwich, kenke, and salad, try the tuna. Enapa chocolate drink, avanti numbio, ne creamy pan. And dairy cream, so avanti diania, yet dead. Hey, enapa, hey, the suku.
Enapa sardine is a vegetable oil. It's best for your kinky or your banku and pepper.
Use Enapa mackerel for your soup, for your stew, and your love.
Na spaghetti need Italia baby.
Hey, Enapa, the suku. Enapa, the suku.
FDA ahwehwɛ saa edwedie nkrato yi ade ato mu sɛ ɛyɛ.
Ɛda wo so nɛ macho madi
Mira. Ya na udi sa.
ei na malaria na fa hia mutu aware a momoni agi saa no
Adom malakio mesha ewo hoi. Malaria ent na yeso nchew.
yɛkɔyɛ test bi wɔ mu pɛ ɛnyanum adom malakio mixture ɛne gyina malaria o body weakness o tiredness o hwim yɛnyina ho atɔ yɛ ntam koraa na adom natural tonic a ɛsisi ha yi nso yɛ
Adom natural tonic nenso. Yenum to ya yentumi nidie. Eno na yanum bi edidi a ye ho tan yen saa no.
adom natural tonic menya anemia na mentumi ne die menum bie bono me taisa mo ho ayɛ fɛ paa ɛne ya mepɛ bi atɔ ne nyinaa apemfo abaatan a wɔn ɔmanufo ne nkwada wɔ ne mfie dunsia nka ho ɛwɔ pharmacies chemical ne herbal shops dodo a kɔ dependable herbal home Medina New Road Greenhouse anane branch ɛwɔ Kasoa opposite there to international school 024 2223 555
FDA ahwehwɛ saa ejedie nkrato mu agye atom se eye.
89 oh 89 hey it be 89 pay Go TV ahead there. Go TV is giving you a special independence offer. Get your Go TV decoder, Go Tenor, and 1 month plus subscription at a discounted price of 89 Ghana cedis per. Now enjoy over 45 local and international channels today in digital clear pictures. A month for Duado, where a special independence limited offer. Intimates like a cra. Kwaju decoder for the best in entertainment. Visit any Go TV accredited dealer or SMS Go TV to 1731. Go TV. Love it.
Wakoye passenger ni owo to mikasi pa. Sa obabwa am ye sika nkwanhia no kwan e wo ya kwan so ene nti sa oti hyen mu na sa o hyenkani no okọ America tente wano monsa oyi fa ho wo bia eni kwan so wo yesa ana se wo kasa o mobile phone so a mesre wo a kasetia na sa unhu so hyenkani no na ni kuma moma ni nyina na onye na home eyam no mienu asade si ye boye nkwa ho ban e wo ya kwantempo so ni sika nkwanhia no kwan Sankratoi National Road Safety Authority in the Debra War arrive alive. Kodru Jojo Medase.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Anytime I feel lonely, feeling sad, only one station makes me happy. When I wake up in the morning, only this station makes my day. Yeah. Oh, Asempa FM. Asempa FM. Oh, Asempa FM. Asempa Asempa FM 94.7.
4.7 Asempa FM Sony Ekosiisen dwumedie no asugusu awutie no ma yenam wasibio se matwen ama yakọ aba Dr. Okoe Boye ewa ha oye former deputy health minister, former MP Lejokoko constituency, official government spokesperson here on Ekosiisen. And then COVID-19 matters arising. And
Ekosiisen on
Sisiana Minia Elvis Darko, editor of the Finder newspaper, are sending me the latest statistics on COVID-19 cases. Now, active cases number not jumping to 6,948. 6,948. And that's quite huge. So new cases are 554. And deaths, 494. Doc, 6,948. That's scary. Ew.
Yeah, Obi. Ampa unse mi kande biya say usha ya rebiti say let's say hepatitis. You catch out say you 6,000 cases of hepatitis ayanyan in a year. Enko obia obi no obe 6,000 for the next 15 years, 20 years unless we woo.
Yes.
So ya unya and you say eko like HIV. But COVID no in the next 2 weeks, if Nyankupa Dom now one free more, now ultimately get out of hospital in 2 weeks, technically, then all of them have recovered. Okay. So then, assuming we don't get new cases from Wachina, we would have had 0 active cases. Yeah. So that we understand, say this disease is not like malaria, or even malaria you can get and go, but it's not like HIV or hepatitis or also for the next maybe years, Now, it is to give us some comfort and hope. Say, if we do our things well and really check the virus now, Obi, we can easily, within a short time, reverse the situation.
Okay.
There are many say, if in 2 weeks' time there was 6,000 cases, some assume say it is still some of these cases that are in the 6,000.
Okay.
If in 3 weeks' time, you can say Ghana, let me take 7th of March, and a date here. 11. So let me take 7th of March.
Yeah.
It would have been 3 weeks.
Okay.
If by 7th of March, Ghana's active case count is 4,000. Remember that none of these 4,000 technically is part of these 6,000. Just a 6,000, all would have recovered. Or we might have 0.6% from our statistics.
Okay.
0.6 of 1,000 is 6 people.
Yeah, I get it.
So if you have, let's say 6,000 cases today, then we are talking about the 6 times what? 6
on Asempa FM.
0.6 of 1,000 is 6 people. If you have 6,000, then you are talking about 36. So using our statistics, it's possible that in the next 3 weeks, our mortality rate is 0.6. So in the next 3 weeks, we would have had, let's say, 36 lives lost. And then out of the 6,000, we subtracted from 36 from 6,000, close to 5,000, how do you call it, 60 something would have recovered. So we can't wait on to say, also still the cases in them thousands and over. And just say new cases now here, also. And then there be about active case count, Ejina Srusano. Now, Obi, media from a calculation in my expectation. Niama mienua a driving cases echo up the mixing of traveler population during the festive season. Not only just traveler population, but a very mobile traveler population. Say most of them came for a purpose, which is to socialize and celebrate the season. So, two things really high risk for spread of virus. Obviously, doc, now, and yet testing in our airport, it is true. The airport testing regime has caught over 1,163 people positive cases. KIA, so far, 1,163 cases. Obi, what does it tell us? It means that if we had not had the testing at the airport, you would have had 1,163 positive cases. They would have entered Ghana's population. And out of the 1,000, each one has the potential to produce 5,000 active cases. Now, cases now they call lockdown or Ghana. Your first wave. Now you 4 imported cases.
Yeah.
And they could do 7,000 at a point. I am locking the whole Ghana down. So if you have a regime, an arrangement, I think I think for 1,163. How many are positive? Some of them are positive. Yet seriously. Once in isolation. Now the other seriously no. It's very likely say either so or yaribi or no. And now the viral load no does. Obi. Now viral load does. And the amount to me air
spread in the more.
Exactly. So point in this say me come when I can say in every step you take is a risk reduction measure. And away Obi. And to Odi testing at 2 airport cry and on say 10,000 cases never over 10,000. You significantly reduce the risk of somebody slipping in. The entire cancer say there is no absolute science. Obia or in the politics no candidate in science you never say never. Hollywood the doctor tell you say oh, it can never be the case. No, you don't speak like that. You speak in a measured way because on him say knowledge can break bounds. Into Obi, Marty stories Ghana hire the human factor. Obi will be aba. Now instead of being subjected to the test, no, on one hundi, na say we were paid big crime high official be. Obi will not connivance. Me cause ane eti but ye ya team reports. Last Kennedy Japan, me am senior honorable. No see on my branch bia. Sebi on one case o mo bibi na ofemu. Obi, enti say the testing equipment at airport. No obi ti mi sebi. Ghana ha eti mi say o woman is car meji. Na mama ofemu a Obi. And no sebi will test no cannot catch such a person. Yeah. Another possible arrangement is possible say ma ebia 1 or 2 slippages could have happened. Say Obi omo friend the international law or rule for reciprocity in for diplomatic circles. I no once Ghana need to coin UK yen testing no say UK officials who baha strictly sense you are not supposed to test them exactly. And it's a Ghana ni quarantine or shed them for 1 week and 2 weeks. Or say you can also shed them for 1 or 2 weeks. Now, yesterday, it was part of our arrangements. Say, Sebi, Obi Bana or that category, Vivia, Ebia Sebi, or maybe Penny and Abibia, and also shed them. But because Yankita Israel for technology and South Korea, I ultimately a fidesha unsa, our coffee na upie, STP out of fear, signal chininti. Yeah, to President Fono. Sebi, every team, what we are seeing now, say team near good. Omutimi review and more amend your position based on what you are monitoring and observing. So we made a strong case to President. The President, this is done in diplomatic sector. It is true. It is more or less a convention, but we are a sovereign nation, and you can make a strong case. Say, in fidel for monitoring, you are airtight. And to you, you better test to nipa. Also, testing and then we wrote through with the help of Honorable Minister, Foreign Affairs Minister, wrote to all of them. Emma, say VVIP background, you subject you to a test. Okay. So only even 2 VVIPs. Now they are coffee obi. Now I promise yes or be quarantine. Now I'm quarantine. It can lead to Abia or Obi. Yeah. So we reduced our risk significantly. But like I say, it is not airtight. And time Europe starting your second wave in America, media also be a mere public. I knew say we also experience some surge in cases because there are people who will enter this country without passing through the airport. Now, Nipano, you see our closing borders. Now, what's not Pijo Mumi, the Afa Beni, Abakrom Haobi, Obetimi, Ediama, and that was the first possible driver of our cases. The other one, a driver, and he said, most of the people who buy no social event. Obi ba Christmas go obey ye ye be to around that time and now be share some birthday party obi wako party no now I mingle with nkrofo obi ye be pon no obi tin nkrofo 10 15 eyari na history I take you treatment centers kire say nkrofo be bro munya case no and this omo call big programmer nkrofo doors omo 100 2000 omo call small gatherings very closed and this omo shed them. Ebi I saw a condition I bon komo nkofo 5 pe ba kwa afra brocha ba obi ye be pon no na
o de asa obi
exactly no the sign wa uko adwuma mu now also we said we juma will be enclosed tighter omo close omo be office no e chie na record positive cases. So these were the two things cases cause. Now because those two factors obi akofom say going from January no unim say number of Christmas and New Year festivity and the number of rounds so I war about social events in so really if we stick to the protocols make up protocols now if you're mask wearing no now sir if you don't have anything to do don't go out very important obi if you try to avoid a lot of public places places that we yen so be esrumbo say how by necessity in fact it's part of even managing the pandemic. Somebody must be talking to the public. If you're close to Asempa, now say microphone who are so kind. Now only my over corner graveyard now obi. So if what didn't yet be here and I try and be at home. Now if you my virus on your chest, you see when you move the virus, it has not changed. We have only now moved, but with increased risk reduction measures because we cannot forever also not move for the whole time. And to be me come when I say media nyankopon dom in the next 4 weeks it is my hope once these two main drivers are conform no if within the community na mask wearing no mo yedi look enemy call program bi na a meeting na ye enclosed space hotel bi na me call ho no me won say nipa ba ko a nipa oba address here no bi edu time oba address no yi no mask no your enclosed room social distance by enclosed now why you the mask and all kasa and I me catch a penny say mpamocho mon catch no na on share mask no kasa to the mask and I say oh, I want to take 2 minutes to tell them something say setting na your is the most powerful driver for spread now papa way uncle kasa for 30 minutes and 1 hour within a short time in front of your no ono particles and then na air condition so is air condition and a virus way or a virus said or your scaniba on pay beer or shoe obi the virus whether we like it or not has preference for cold setting and if papa we kasa now for just 1 minute me see me yi me mask anum sure obi me hu me pe virus no hu ni mu na sebi efa echo lamp
if say obia
obi yes no through a very convenient way on a normal day before virus no the count no be and was saying crossing a lot of barriers I tell people enye easy sa nyankopon boy hu ban o before a virus can finally get to your throat go down utrachea na call lungs no obi now virus na kasa no wa fa mu a lot of things fight the virus but there are some settings that takes a lot of the barriers away and gives a highway to the virus and a typical one is an enclosed space with mask off. And no, you are inhaling the virus straight. So, who was suction pressure into two virus no come. Now, no barrier bembium na virus no go cross. Ebianka that table bisu and I wouldn't sako fire. I say virus in your word. No go tari uhinisu. No see from ba uhinimu. But I didn't want from moi. Obi, where they na and one say shisha, but a contem crash no straight. Enti me can't pay na. I'm going to say, oh, doctor. And I say, yes. And now, Obi, meeting me normally, I meet them snacks never every 10 minutes. Me sorry, na me the number coffee. Obi, and then because say me far for a moment, I have to drop and eat. And then finally, apple back on me fire because now me who say me call hypo. Just a mini percent. Obi, guess what? Me pay. Now Obi say never mind. Me pay no need to see here. Now me compare issue. So all room in Sasa Rapo no say food that you consume direct no is also one of the easy routes for poisoning. Poison just yama poison but one fat organism let mama yare. Enti be bisa reception e chire me na comfortable obi. So you have to be conscious. Conscious just say be piano umma coin for the virus. If you na set you say enti me be call me to omo for say e do lunch time me call lunch wa now, Okoe Boye, but more pure carbon in a code. From our multiple, it reduces the risk significantly. And in a yama, Troy, Juman Comfortina, side to side. Sabianti outbreaks. Our cases, me catching for say time. Your cases say call from Sahabedu 300 Obi. Not schools. Some students went to finish their exams.
Yeah.
Churches had been opened. Trucks were operating. Markets were operating. Yet our cases were going down. The signs in your setting, it tells you, say, this couldn't have been possibly your drivers. Obi. Campaign. Obi can say, oh, as a scientist, me can say, rallies and campaigns never had zero chance. I don't rule out potential. But I talk about the real life experience here. What is our experience? Campaigns mounted from somewhere August. In September, we didn't see the hospitals full. In October, we didn't see. In November, we didn't see. Second week in December, echo third week. Obina season has started. And then the cases started. So, whether you like it or not, our experience has taught us. And that's why the president said parties, weddings, funerals. Yeah, fun too. And I mean, senior brother Kojo Bechire will say, Obian can say, sorry, na no, so for no mask. No, see, exchange drinks are money. That's not what the president is speaking to. But say, Yako High Event Center. I say, Obi. Typical Ghana, more typical Ghana setting. Omako sign, you see 12. Yeah, 12 more place no at 2. Omon by 3, omon by 4. 5, now I saw Kania. I feel I never started Obi. And only you know, be adding Wajib. And you make coffee, virus or one. So, Obi, for now, no, let me say, we have increased our bed capacity.
Okay.
Government, and opinion with me brother Felix, on some show. And I say, oh, he can't even tell a strategy. What is happening, Obi? Our strategy remains the same. We had 5 pillars, if you remember, for fighting COVID. First one is to limit the importation of the virus. Yeah. That strategy is what we are seeing with the testing at the airport. And I've told you, we've caught over 1,163 cases. When we say limiting something, it means you are reducing to the lowest number. Having caught this means that even if someone would have slipped, we've caught a lot. Mm-hmm. That's the first strategy. Obi, the second one is to prevent or limit community spread. Community spread means say about education, obey one crofo, no more to me as stopping the speed with which the virus moves in Ghana. Obi, and I always studio high. FM. To have a senior season presenter like yourself doing the show in the mask. I will be share Facebook or also mask. Now I show. I Dr. Okoe Boye share mask. HSA. There is a lot of effort in the community to limit community spread. It will because of who they are cause. And the officer said the virus no so on say. The friend is saying, Osno. I will be who is our. And the FBI share mask. Who say are stopping? But if there are things in this air, it will be collected on my mask. Because you know me, you too ha. Obi. So that action is there. You be a school. Sanitizers are buying any supporting students. Face mask. They are supposed to help reduce the risk for getting the virus amongst the children. And that is the strategy. The third one is providing adequate care. Now, this is where I want to mention a very few important things. Ampa say at the point, when we be the COVID, the president found government hospital. Never can say we be a space anywhere. Yes, it's true. When the numbers go up, Ghana normally is about 5% of your cases. And I serious and need hospital admission. 5% of 1,000 is 50. Obi, maybe that one you can contain. But 5% of 5,000 is 250. Into you can 250 cases per. I say any COVID per na issue my way. Who share awo, who share severe malaria, who share kidney. And if a dose per, it pressure into system. So, and the above where they say quickly no, we have increased the bed capacity. Tama general, the beds reach. Yesterday na reach. You need COVID beds. So they say reach were about 16 beds.
Okay.
Reach hospital, UGMC. Yeah. First we are closing here because the cases no na after they were signed. We've reopened. University of Ghana Medical, how do you call it? Ghana East is being used as a treatment facility. Ghana Infectious Disease, Senior Hosi, Midanasi, and brothers. The Omusi Yeno is also being utilized. Enti Obi, abuying the Sebi Niama any share Omo Yari oxygen, ensure this Omuso Obi. Nina abuying takes care of the cost. Lastly, Obi 2 years for so called the private hospital. Now within 2-3 days, the bill about 40,000-50,000 by social media. Now say one team I'm sure also here. Now COVID got chill. Now is it your home chill? Obi. People were like, wow, this is serious. But the Eka say, you take things for granted if unya akọ hospital na ahwe na abafie because enye say be private hospital can say confess cabra. But Obi, just imagine all those who have been sick from COVID from day one, who by the grace of God recovered in government hospitals, their bills were paid by the state.
Wow.
It was government policy from day one. Now don't take it for granted. And can be a catch patient be over tamale order COVID word say first cut 200 insurance for COVID. Obi, so if our mortality today is 0.6, Okoe Boye is not saying that is because it's one of the lowest in the world. Let's jubilate. But the point is that in the absence of government policy, our mortality could have been worse. So the policy of paying for fees, and then me busu ani bia. Your friend so on tiapo Obi. Echeno ye hwe mo no. Na e was say ye hwe no. How do you call it? COVID.
Okay.
Obi. Me kura me catch the stress masa.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
First no e kan na ye bo kakra no ze no. Ato a lie jokingly Obi. Say me ka ebi onim. So me kai no. Say o mo ka say no bi no. Kai say ni nyina e tuamai. So the point is that Obi, government policy is that once you are confirmed as a COVID case, government takes the bill. And Obi, our strategy remains the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fourth one was to mitigate the adverse social and economic effects of the pandemic.
Okay.
As we speak, this is our CARES program. You can't wear your budget with the coronavirus alleviation resuscitation scheme or whatever. Obi, this year soft loans by
NBSSI.
Yeah. Obi, all these ones, this moratorium from the banks. Say Obi do car stagger it and all that. Obi, we still are conscious and minded by the adverse economic and social effects of the pandemic. Now, it's part of the strategy. And then the fifth one, which is the last one, the building local capacity. Obi. Yes, starting COVID. Obi first, surgical mask, normal surgical mask and medical mask. These are imported from China.
N95, no.
And when are N95?
Oh, okay.
They cut the ordinary one. The surgical mask, blue one. No.
Asempa FM.
Obi, now only 10% of our needs could be sourced locally in terms of mask and other items. As we speak, over 90% of all the things we are using for COVID, especially for the real the disposables and consumables, are being produced locally.
Oh,
Ghana now has a capacity. Yes, there is capacity now to produce over 500,000 surgical masks a day in this country.
Oh.
Blue one.
Wow.
Until COVID came, we didn't have the capacity. Obi na you see, sometimes you see, you need to meet
blue one, way be blue, no?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, yeah, Ghana.
Yes.
I never knew that.
Yes, Obi. It took COVID to push us, and that's why I say it was as part of God. We knew. Say once Yarebia Bahama, certain countries be air tight on their borders.
Asempa FM.
By survival means automatically we have to look. And let me thank God for free markets. There are very innovative businessmen. Obi, no ministry. Nipa no be chairman. Machine Obi Uganda chukebe ko. Machine here produce surgical mask no. Any machine here multimedia style building no.
Really?
Oh yes. With video. Obi. So the point I'm making is if Obi can say any strategy, you need strategy or who your strategy. Sebi sometimes politics but looking at the things I've listed, Obi owo ebusia relative ayagina to University of Ghana Medical Center. Ebi ayama no oxygen. Wako ICU 2-3 weeks. Ya yi na ebe fie okono the any cancer for nyankopon kono Obi. Ono ni busua ni crow free mu no. Omo nim say COVID is share no they are alive and well. Now I will conclude. Maybe a few questions are make vaccines.
Okay.
Me some research kakra on the vaccines.
Before vaccines, no.
Yeah.
There are some questions. Please ask Doc to talk to the people of Jamestown. Jamestown constituency, and what do you do? They claim they are protected because they live near the sea.
Obi, so you say COVID you want to know let you cook na dey assemble. Conflict of interest coastal COVID issues no. Me ma we Abuaji Ghana says director. But on a serious note, sea breeze, salty air, honestly doesn't protect you from COVID. Sending you one of the myths now for hold on to. Yes, Obi. If you are fighting a fire outbreak in a forest, with the same amount of water and material we use to cool fire, with the same pressure and same quantity, the fire can get intense, although you are still being steady with your effort. Why? Because there are other factors that determine the intensity of the fire. That's how a pandemic, fighting a pandemic is, Obi. How come say US, among top experts, Fauci, I can say they would experience a second wave in the winter. This is an expert who all manage pandemic. Say, how come say or we can say what Nimdiano and then I won't stop it. Wave no say besi Obi because on him say I say who fight a jano. There are some factors that are beyond your control. And there were two reasons why he said there was going to be a second wave. In winter, the climate was going to be cold. And then the second one was that there were going to be a lot of social events like Christmas around that time. And he knew, say, by human nature, it would be difficult to keep people in their bunkers. Okay, but what I say? I'm making this point. Now, more free say, cases, first night, now say, when you are chasing a virus, it's like you are fighting fire. If the factors are normally outside your control, like the behavior of citizens, how people would comply with testing regimes at the airport, if people default on those things, no more go out of their way, the fire can get intense. But the firefighter has still been steady with the efforts. So I'll plead with everybody, how successful we become with COVID is not only tied to the efforts of the government. It is a role, a dual role. It is yourself and the Abai. All of us come together. And we must all be watchers of each other. If you are working at the airport or you are at a laboratory, Obiba, we are testing positive. Not because also a person to coin, also Charlie, $100. This trip is very important. Now, the mano. Now, Ofaka, taxi driver, your brother, no the mano. Or do airport, no the man for. Now, could do approach and say, I best stop in because I won't say why positive or her. $100. But you might lose two relatives. Obi. So, Mepacho, President Kufuor has said that he will do whatever it takes to protect Sebi. And Okasadina, and yes, or the year favor. It's an exercise in self-fulfillment or survival. Why? How can you be president when there are no citizens? The last time I checked, if you no be new chroma Obi, wow, we are redemption and with salvation. So he knows that he's there because we are there, and we are also there because he's there. It's a pacho Nyakupa vaccines rollout has started globally. Now, in fighting a pandemic, Obi, the last stage, whether I like it or not, what marks the beginning of the end is the successful development and deployment of a vaccine. It marks the beginning of the end. Now, Kai say, the beginning of the end is not the end. Sometimes, some ends in their nature can take years. So, we also pray that that particular episode will not be too long. But Obi, I am excited about vaccines even being given in Europe and America, if still it's not gotten here. Because anytime risk is reduced in those areas, a whole already case is in free battle. We here, our risk is also reduced. So, really, by the time half of the population in Europe and America gets vaccinated, your risk is significantly lower if you are in Africa or Asia. Because, if you get 1,000 people visiting you from Europe and they come to Asempa Studios, you are likely to pick cases. Because the one who shank for 10, as for the vaccination is important. Now, the
question on, or say, the first question I raised is related to when the first ambulance arrived to convey him. That's my dad. They said the result of the patient on COVID is not in, so the ambulance cannot convey him. When clearly his condition was deteriorating, they left and it took the intervention of the ambulance service boss, who ordered a release of a special ambulance from Koforidia to Odan, but it was too late. The question is about how some health workers shy away from alleged or suspected COVID patient. And why every ailment BSGN is deemed to be related to COVID-19.
Yeah,
and for that reason, patients are not admitted until their statuses are known. And what are the measures put in place by Ghana Health Service to make sure that sample tests picked from other areas apart from Accra and Kumasi results come in early enough? In the 3 questions.
Yes, Obi, nyakupa adom testing regime no your capacity no akosropa. First no na no Gucci pe any a few veterinary labs. But nyakupa adom and I kasai even Kolebu, the ministry, the COVID, the national COVID, the case management team, assist Kolebu to have their own PCR. So Kolebu, they do testing already. I think they use the gene expert technology also. But we are adding the PCR capacity. We are also working feverishly to help. The last time I was in office, before the, the swearing in of the president, we were talking to 37 military hospitals, trying to help them also to get their own testing. But the point is that testing places and capacity has increased. In fact, it has almost tripled in Accra and other places in the country. So it means that waiting time, Nyakupa Adom, a year first, Obi, but still, within 24 hours, I admit. Now, Mepacho, I know many people are meeting Penjifakasa Hospital in Penjifakasa Yajiom, suspected COVID. I check and some the results came negative, some too came positive. But one thing we do in the hospitals, they say, if more lekma, no be ba. Now, me be no questions. Now, me suspected COVID. The case is managed as a COVID case until proven otherwise. So, unless omuni isolation unit, I share suspected COVID, only be there, fine. But no hospital, our isolation unit should use the pretext, say, because I don't know the COVID status, I will not take. In fact, if you report such a place, they might get into trouble. So the protocol is that if you suspect COVID, you manage as COVID until proven otherwise. That is the rule. So that you go and attend to the person in coveralls. And your coveralls cry, or at least make sure your double mask. I mean, we can't double, it's just for emphasis.
Yeah.
But make sure you are well conscious. Assume the person is a COVID person until you know the results. And COVID patients are taken care of. Aren't they? Confirm COVID. Say show.
Of course.
Why first to the show, mono? Some kind of first to the show, the suspect, you know. But sometimes, you know, some of the hospitals, you know, and they say, if a suspected case, now using the consumables now also, now results also a negative. Now it's a wabo the car. So, I mean, Mepacho, I think monitoring and being active citizens is also important.
Very.
I mean, a lot of shout outs to health workers. We know health workers are taking a lot of risk. And then the penny back or call the book. I say, my friend. I say, well, tell me, what can we do? Is there anything? I say, oh, doc, so far, you know, we see logistics. I say, oh, I mean, but say, a bit of it's okay. And then, or catch a bit fun. He say, oh, doc, what did I say here? The COVID, what can we do? We have to manage. It's more or less normal to us now. So, Mamiti, I say, they are going to live with it. And Obe call the line, okay, say, nah, sir, income tax exemption. So the point I want to make is that they are giving a lot to help our patients. But you still get a few who want to use COVID one shot as an excuse now.
No, ambulance staff should be careful.
Obi, active citizens. Such an ambulance driver, you have to report because you'll be shocked. Say, Nippers are all reporting now. One shot, which means on him said, it's not done. Now say COVID cases. Yes, start here. Now saying crana. Sometimes they will start the car outside the hospital. But stricto sensu, even the suspected COVID is only an ambulance that should convey. Now the ambulances that come and convey suspected confirmed COVID cases, how do they operate? Say you're called through training. You know, say you put on your mask. You know that you have to do ABC. So if you're an ambulance driver, there's no excuse to say that because I don't know your status, I don't pick you. If you suspect COVID, treat as what? COVID. That's the protocol. It's like court. They say you are innocent until
proven guilty.
But at the end is the opposite. You are assumed to be COVID until proven otherwise. That's the protocol. And we do so for good reason. So that and you say you actually say severe malaria and pneumonia, the chest, no problem. odi na attaching na aye no examination na chire result abase onipa we the viral load kwa hu bi da obi e chese ya ye call no nyina asema to ye. You know, so it is forgive me, but it is more useful to waste resources out of suspecting COVID and find out later not to be COVID than to try and expose yourself only to realize later that you were dealing with COVID. So me pa no cho eya on send ma o details kakra official government spokesperson. I'll follow it up. Obi. Who say I'm also on the COVID task force. So still still we are all helping to make sure we get there.
From the task force level, no?
Yes.
Munye overwhelmed at the current situation.
Oh, Obi.
NJ Munsem.
Obi say, I'd say, coach, out winning games. Later, no. Things are not going like the way or expected. Although using the same strategy, same players, same effort. Obi. The real test of your experience, our building, any Nyama was here, is when cases start to try to go ahead of you. That's when you have to, the thinking becomes intense. Now, I use the firefighter as a clear example to let you understand. Say, when Umu say, a jabi aye dum nuo, market bi aye shi, a jana sa man ni huswa, and chese nipa na o dum jano, ni si ona conform. It is possible, say, ebia debi ankade no conform no, gas bi one side there, I explode. So, the task force, the same principles I use here, I am about 300 cases. It's the same principles I am marshally and the cases there. So quickly, no, we have to. That's why some activities and kayeka say yentimi yenu. They say yasa kase ya chasai, like the weddings and funerals. That's why even with kids square school, we are still monitoring, so that if you have enough sufficient grounds, you can know. So I mean, Obi, I don't think say we are overwhelmed as a task force. Your committees we spend a lot of time, energy, and I say government approach is an all government approach. Government approach is an all government approach. And the explanation is that Okoe task force Okoe Boye and in Siansari, my boss, former boss, Honorable Kokua Jimami. You see national security in Amusderi. You see Honorable Aslawusu. You are going to see CDS, Chief of Defense Staff. You are going to see IGP, because they know that to fight the pandemic, it is multi-sectorial. And there is a president, sorry, not feeling like us, weekend week on the House of Parties, the Mutup. Now, Obi. Sometimes 2-3 hours of debate whether churches should run or not. Give me the signs. Sana President Obi, and just say, Andrew, you may not suspect you. Just say you have to narrow it to show, say, you have evidence, say, a certain way BNT. And I'm a case. So we still have what it takes. Now, Mepacho, don't sit at home and assume, say, let me see how good the task force is. It is how good we are. How good the task force and you are. So that instead of me call meeting now, me catch up, say, Masa Mepacho, Shemas na kasa. Now, o particles and me feeling them will. Man, yes, Anka task force, she say, conferences in Yama. Numbers should be down. Although the numbers was very few, the principle was being broken in terms of disease transmission. So I tell you, say, if you are in an enclosed room and air condition is on,
mask up.
It is the biggest driver for spread. So make sure that you are double anchored. Now, Obi, they should have faith. But how can you lose confidence? Is the team that brought your active cases to 300 and made you so confident that you said, is it even worth wearing a mask again? You should know that the same skills can be applied to bring these things down. But the only caveat is that you are supposed to be part of the program. Your behavior. Now, mask wearing, studies actually say, virus, there is clear scientific evidence in many countries. They say, anytime mask wearing goes up, the virus slows down. It's automatic. As a broker in YouTube, there were cases there come on me ba case and mask Obi say ya mask up na Obi jokingly can say osofo kese as a mask too wa unim say na fast Obi u 21 day fast da one kasa so a utie mi one kasa bompa 1 hour da if you conform to bompa 2-3 hours as a mask me no a o the mask back den Obi, because I got too. But we won't check around the chest. You are in a big problem. Now, Obi, me mommy assistants. I call Lejo Kukuni Lada de Kotopon. 2 municipalities.
Honorable Ben Ayes, tell Honorable Okoe Boye to stop the insinuation of coach, same players and tactics, but losing matches. Still, you will never walk alone. And the Liverpool logo, Akaho, and the ABBA.
Yes, Obimbo Mukra man in Sasupe, Uzi Onjai in Saloma.
Wait, Obi, I lost my big sister who is pregnant and a nurse too, because a hospital, I'm not sure if I should put the name of the hospital, but I'll say hospital no Agomenya, Odumase Krobo, where she works, refused to treat her because they claim they suspect her complications are symptoms of COVID-19. Baby, you know, Jumano. They never treated her. She died with her baby last year when it wasn't even COVID-19. What are the criteria or procedure to prevent mixing non-COVID-19 patient with COVID-19 patient? Julius Afedi. It was so many. And on the way, Abraham. We say, Abele Nungwa says, Obi, tell champion Dr. Okoe Boye that the God who have called him to service will surely see him through. That's Abele, and he's in Nungwa. And on the way, Banana One says, Obi, are viruses curable? Please ask Dr. Okoe Boye what will be the next stage if one gets tested for COVID-19 and he or she is negative or positive. Obi, I'm asking this because someone can be tested negative now and will get infected in the next hour. Greetings to Honorable Anita Kukua Dapo. Obi, you know, or if you know, you know. Nana one, Ewo Kaswa. And those are some of the questions coming through. But let me add that, Obi, today happens to be the birthday of Princess Nancy Akosua Achie Martinson, who turns 3 years today. May the blessings of the Lord be with her as she ages. She will do greater works. With much love from your dad, mom, and the rest of the family, you are loved. Hashtag Ekosiisen. Away from me, I'm a class captain, Alex Martinson, to Neba, where the 3 years, and Princess Nancy Akosua Achie Martinson. Happy birthday to you. Doc, into questions about you, so to me,
Obi say virus in the Obia wanya virus no. Nipa no recover on their immune system.
Okay.
Me can say, and I can say up to now, there's no antiviral, anti-COVID agent. I can say way, onuma, send I want malaria, a draw, where are testing it, and now co-attempt, onuma 3 days not here. Okay. There's nothing like that. Wa oni padria, and a produces soldiers are at me fighting virus no, but processor. Any produces soldiers, some manufacturing process, no. A processor is a so witchy. O produce no, at him a week, at him who me a conform, at him out pile, at him one share, or kidney problem, at him a common problem. So, everyone they also call smooth. And once our fighting virus, no one recover. Entina said you'll be or fighting on your symptoms. Obisu fighting our benya is so be free. Enti, the response are mounting. So we ku virus no eno na kire niama eto no sa cold na onya sa humi a ontumi humi yie sa sebu pressure na isa kosro obi wana no sugar e basa obi wana no pressure na jumpy first no pressure basa is na kosro pa ni nyina is because onipadua are getting into a fighting mode na the fight no say be obi conform you ku a ba wa me so obi hu be hu no ebe timi ahu
yes
ebi amoja exactly now what is happening is if you tested negative for COVID now, ebi enumere u kofie no. O de unsa so do bia no. Obi asinizi or COVID. O fan o so do no. When ni AHU na o de unsa ko weni. Virus na pe kwan bia nanti akọ weni mu. Wanya. You were positive in the morning, negative in the morning.
Yeah.
But should they text you the next day, you'll be positive.
You'll be positive.
Good. Enti eno de dynamic. Obi a wanya bi suda no. If you are positive today, research actually say although ultimate antibodies soldiers are born immunity no, you can get it again. There's a possibility. But the good news is that obi a wanya bi da no onya the second time and normally no rate of hospitalization form only obi a target go to hospital.
Okay.
And now you no be so severe because medicine say the body has been primed. Nipadua no wa share virus leader. Obi say bi I say obi a dey fight.
Yeah.
Amakuda. Say bebu pa onim from Ashanti say we o share obu pa. Say me draw so. Onim say we there one body crowd be draw. So me win so obi onim say we we kwajuro crowd be win. So really no the probability say yare no anu be the secretary of form, but because of science, there's no absolute. In very rare cases, obetime nyobia severe the first time, then it gets severe the second time. But that is an outlier. There's a draw grapher. So 100 cases we may just one out of the 100. Now, when you are speaking to what it is, you don't use outliers.
Okay.
You speak to those in the middle. And me can say the good thing about having been exposed before is that subsequently, should you get infected, the rate of severe illness and by consequent the rate of death very very important.
Well, say ask Doc what government is doing about trotro drivers. Okay, so trotro vehicles and how they convey passengers in this COVID season. Social distancing is so poor in our commercial vehicles. In the task force, no more journey so Jomo Pokwase first question and and as a money no
task force our dreams are enter trotro no say oye jumade we mun na ba up at the task force meeting obi who say me can say Dr. Okoe Boye who catch me say manage COVID at Greater Accra level or Ghana level obi when you are managing a disease at a community level disease are near draw na any cure now so the any cure ni say close business way manipulating fie member when go school obi immediately you realize say apart from the virus the risk of getting the virus there are other risks that can make people either sick, either have poor quality of life or even die. So then as a manager you don't know you are not looking at one item. And to Ukoye mistake now so in COVID transmission the textbook says that 1 limit movements, 2 mask up, 3 keep distance. If the distance cannot be kept in the bus, shut the transport system. You would have exposed people to other risks that would injure them the more. And I'll give you a classical example. During the lockdown, Abranti Abakwaya me talk coconut on or opposite GIG, Ufri GIG, but towards Ernest. There's a pharmacy shop. Oton coconut or junction obi. Yeah, breakfast now. Me need to bring my G2. During the lockdown, one bar for 2-3 weeks. Na me kofa ho no ye resume no na on buy. So me share no na me ka say lockdown night is say doctor. Na enya easy. But you know such a person because we said everybody should stay in their house. After some weeks if a honor onya the daily bread say oba ofie na akra no ye hia. One ye careful even anti-malaria drug on tomano. So the risk of death or harm for the children has even far outweighed the risk of getting a virus. Obi.
Yeah.
And America had I say, omo year lockdown in America, they realize that out of hospital deaths, it has gone up 6 times. Look, I know at least 3 cases are me na me mind obu call hospital in Ghana and Yamianka, they were staying at home. Obi. And they said me but it's very likely if you are staying at home, they would have died. Who did they don't know what to do? Because COVID abano. Hospital cry one should be and you 12 years. I said, what kind of calculation is that? The first question is, are you able to eat well? I said, no. If you can't eat well now, when you are sick, the demands on the body is more. So when food is normally broken down into sugar. That's the last item our body don't use. The body doesn't use fufu or rice. Chicken cannot be used by the body. Yeah. It must be broken down to one item, which is sugar. So, sucrose. But we will call it glucose. Glucose is better. Okay. Now, glucose will give you the glucose immediately. But fufu will give it to you maybe in 2-3 hours.
Okay.
But you have to depend on your stores for immediate use. But say, stores will come from no one replenish here. Who did I call sugar in them? Say, who break you stores it can be slow release. Obi, if uyari, that would refie, now yari did here. It's like you have a lot of pressure on your body with no input to support yourself. Obi, Edukra can facilitate the death. So we'll be free, we'll be detailed. And that's why I think one doctor, Dr. Comey, our guys, I can say self-medication should have a limit. You shouldn't self-medicate beyond some limit. Wofie, untiapo, wafa para kakra, wafa malaria kakra. Unza afedi esebi unanti 3 kwa bre. Untimi didi still defi abadiachi. What shows that in the night you make it? So Obi, that is the point. Say if Ugu say the signal no good, it is important to report. But I was speaking about the risk, other risk in the population. Okay. Because the people feel say we're picking virus unity or telephone, America they see it will count to out of hospital then. It depends on over Rashida Bano. The back say or a diabetic or a pressure, but it's not true. It is the fear of reporting and getting COVID because of the hot, and the coconut seller will start starving. So Obi, who take it trust setting for example, what was the advice that went into it? Because most of our transport systems are open window. In front of family, local setting experience at chair say even when numbers are high and people are close, yes, those two things are risk. But you normally don't record cases like if they are in an enclosed spacing with air conditioning revolving the same particles. So what did we say? Make sure they mask up.
You mask up.
So the mask reduces your risk of getting the virus. But we admit that the distancing is not that significant. Yeah. What I say. Yeah. And sometimes you don't have to accumulate all the measures. Make sure that the significant one is happening. So if you are in a conference room like I went today, we were only few who were observing distancing. But if you don't know and you drop the mask for 2 minutes to drink when people are talking Obi, you are in trouble.
You are in trouble.
So Mepacho now no more operate time and your cases no conform. The pabucho and that's my bano we make us in fact Obi. I miss my trotro this. But be careful not to go and disrupt the lifestyle and activities of the trotro users. Okay. They should wear the mask. The windows should be open as much as possible, and with those two interventions, risk is reduced.
Dr. Bernard Okoe Boye in Canada, Kemre no aso. I was saying sheni edisi. That's papa say.
Next week now, vaccines.
Yeah, next week we'll go into vaccines or some more. Now, I share the rollout plan and said in your BBC Ako. And you better dog say papa. But life is short, and that's why you would need to mask up. Absolutely important. Benny's affair.